My brothers and sisters, I don't know if you've ever had a friend that whenever they're around, they always annoy you. I have. In fact, I have a couple of them. And the reason I have come to understand more and more that these particular friends of mine annoy me, you might be like, well, why do you hang out with them? Which is a good question. But I realize it's because they are far holier than I am. They have a much deeper relationship with the Lord, and in their relationship with the Lord, there is a joy that they have and a way that they live their life that I experience profound tension in myself. You see, when they're around, I think differently about what I'm about to say, and I look at my responses, and I take more time because I realize that words matter, that my actions matter. And the challenge that I've experienced is that oftentimes I find these friends of mine to be irritating because they're calling me on to something more than I want to be. These friends of mine are calling me on to a level of greatness, to a level of sanctity, to a level of holiness that's going to cost me something. That I can't live in the comfort of this world anymore. I can't live in the comfort of the day in and the day out. Rather, I am being asked by God through these relationships to change. And I don't like it. I don't want to be different because I'm comfortable as I am. And I say this to you because maybe this is something you've experienced. You've experienced that person and you're like, well, that's just a holy roller. Well, if you've ever said that about anyone, I want you to ask yourself, what was it that really bothered me? Was it that individual, or was it me being frustrated with myself? Because as I've give myself permission to bring these relationships to the Lord, and the Lord's like, well, what's really wrong with this person? I'm like, well, Jesus, you know. And the Lord's like, no, tell me what's wrong with this person. And the Lord's like, and so I tell the Lord all these things. The Lord's like, is that really about them, or is that about you? And that's the rub, because it's about me. I'm frustrated with them because I'm frustrated with myself that I am where I am and I'm not in a different place. And I used to make excuses for myself. Well, that'll happen later on. It'll take its time. But there really aren't any excuses. And this is the challenge of this first reading from Wisdom. That we want to beset the just one because he is obnoxious to us. Why are they obnoxious to us? Because they're living life the way life is supposed to be lived, and I'm living life the way I want to live life. And the Lord asks me, are you willing to let me help you here so you can grow and change? You don't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. Oh, but it's hard, my brothers and sisters. It's hard. And I want to encourage you today to recognize that the Lord isn't okay with us being mediocre. He loves us here. I'm not saying He doesn't love us here, but He's not okay with us being mediocre. He wants us to be fully alive. He wants us to be saints. He wants us to be light in the darkness. He wants us to be His. And that's uncomfortable. And so if you have those friends in your life who you find to be obnoxious, pray first, because they could just really be obnoxious. But sometimes, or more often than not, they're obnoxious because we're encountering a place in ourselves where we know we're being asked to change. Pray for me that I would allow the Lord to change me, that I would allow these friends of mine to call me onward to sanctity. And I pray for you that you would have these friends in your life to challenge you and to call you to the greatness for which God created you.